Ox21 here, back with not a Splinterlands video. We're going to talk about something a little bit different today for the first time. I've always said that I would play other games if anything piqued my interest, and I've been enjoying Sorare NBA. Now, in terms of content moving forward, this isn't really something I can make a ton of video content on, so, for the most part, it's just still going to be all Splinterlands. But I am playing this, so I want to let you guys know. And I bet I'll start tweeting about this, talking about it in my Discord, maybe even make a whole separate channel within the server for talking about lineups. But I just wanted to make a video because I'm really enjoying this. And one of the big things is I've put $0 into the game. Thus far, it's been completely free to play. I haven't earned anything. So part of that is, this isn't a game where, I think you're going to earn a ton. You'd have to come through this as an NBA fan, which is me. The reason why Sorare NBA piqued my interest is I am a massive NBA fan. And I'm really enjoying it, even though I haven't earned anything, but I also haven't invested in anything. It's just a fun fantasy card game where you can, if you invest some, you can earn some. And even if you don't, you do have the chance to earn. And we're going to cover all of that here in this video. Okay, so right off the bat, you can see these are my cards here. Ox21, my cards. How it works is when you sign up for an account, what's going to happen is, and I'm going to put a promo code in the description of this video. It'd be awesome if you did want to sign up, if you could use that promo code. You're going to be, first you're going to pick a superstar. So I had the superstar I picked with Jason Tatum. You get I think you get 3 to pick from. I don't know if they somehow knew I was a Celtics fan or not, but I'm a diehard Celtics fan. So when I saw Tatum there, it was a no-brainer for me to pick him. And it's been a fantastic choice. He's having an MVP type season. But then you basically get a starter deck, is how you could think about it. There's 5 tiers of cards. Tier 1 is kind of your superstars, which you would expect. Tier 2 is sort of like second tier superstars, all the way down to tier 5, which is guys that are on the end of the bench, maybe young players or just guys that aren't playing. So you basically get a lineup or a team of those cards, and then along the way through playing, you can add to your deck. There's different rarities of cards. So as you can see, these are common cards. It says it right here. The gray ones are common cards. Normally there's a number down here of the print of these cards. But as you'll notice with common, there's no print number. These are infinite. There can be an unlimited amount of these cards. Basically, whenever someone makes an account, they are given a deck of players. And if the entire world signed up, they would have enough of these common cards for everyone to have every single player. These cannot be sold. These are sort of, think of them like ghost cards, almost. To be honest, for my Splinterlands players, right? This is a free-to-play version. Maybe you could see something used with ghost cards in Splinterlands, but that's a different type of story. You can think of these cards like ghost cards. Other thing before we move on, you see this plus 5%. These cards get boosts to their stats based on a couple things. One, you can see they all have at least 5%. That's because these cards are the 2022, 2023 versions of the cards. So the cards that are within that season, they get a 5% bonus. And that's a way for, next year when they release the cards, there's going to be interest in having those cards, right? Because there's going to be an additional 5% bonus, even if you've built a whole deck like this. So all of these cards have that because this is the first year of Sorare. You can see some of these have different levels, right? So, as you can see, there are bonuses. So you get XP bonuses. Let's go to the play screen first. I'm going to delete my lineups so you can see me make them. Delete. 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 You see there's a training screen. Let's go back to all tournaments. Okay, so there's all different levels of tournaments. To enter these ones, you need leveled up cards, or sorry, more rare cards, which we'll get into later on in the video. But for now, I have all common cards, so I play in these common tournaments. For the rewards, 100% of people who join this tournament will receive a common card as a reward. And it's broken down by tier of what card you'll get based on the percentage you finish. So if you finish in the top 15%, you'll get a tier 1 common. That could be a Giannis, that could be a LeBron, and that could be one of the best players in the NBA. And then so on. Here, you can notice the reward looks a little different. The top 1,000 get a limited rarity card, which again we'll get into, and then 1,000 on get common cards. Okay, that's important to remember. So let's enter our team. For the common champion tournament, there is a 120 point cap, and you get an MVP, which the MVP's point total doesn't count against your remaining points. So here you can see, why do I have this XP bonus? Basically, you can quote unquote train your players. Every time you put them in a lineup, or every time you put them through a training lineup, they gain XP. And as they level up, you get additional boosts. So here, if Tatum gets X amount of points, that's going to be increased by 6.5%. So let's build the lineup. The other thing to notice is you see how many games they play during this November 14th to 17th period. The highest score for an individual game that the player gets is what counts. So if Tatum has 1 game and some bench warmer on your team has 3 games, you still probably want to pick Tatum, because that 1 game that Tatum is going to play is more likely going to be the higher score than any of the 3 that the bench warmer plays. But it is important to consider, because if you have 2 players of equal value, or you think could have the same chance of scoring the same amount in any of his games that week, you might want to pick the person with the higher amount of games, because that just gives them another opportunity to potentially have a really big output. So I'm going to put Jimmy Butler. We're going to go Claxton. He's been starting for the Nets. Another thing to consider, like here with Bol, he's been outperforming this 26 per game average. But this is his 10 game average. So at the beginning of the year, he was barely playing. So this wasn't, that's taking into account some of his lower numbers, where now he's scoring a lot higher than this. So for a period of time, until all of his high scores get fully worked into this 10 game average, or I guess I should say some of his lower scores get worked out, he's a good play. So now I'm sitting at 22. What do I have? So here's an example. Quickly or Josh Richardson. I think they're probably equally likely to go off, potentially. I think he has more scoring potential. Josh has more potential to do other things on the court. So I'm going to pick Josh for 2 reasons. 1, has an extra game. So as I mentioned earlier, has an additional chance to put up a big number. And then I've had him for a while. I just got Emmanuel quickly. So Josh Richardson has a better boost. So I'll pick Josh. I'm leaving a point on the table, but that's okay. And I will submit my team. Okay, now let's go to I'm going to enter lineups for both, just because I want to keep earning cards. This one I just care a little bit less about, given, I don't really have the chance to earn. Is that what we want to do? Yeah, I think so. We're going to submit. Okay, and then you can train your cards you're not using that week. And that will just help them earn XP and potentially move to the next level. So the next time you do put them in your lineup, they'll have an additional boost. So I always make sure I can train as many players as I can. And then you need to have 5 to fill out the entire lineup, which I think I'm 1 player short. Yes, I am. Which I'll actually be able to fix that in a second. All right, so that's how you play. And as you can see, there are higher level tournaments here. So this was common contender, common champion. This is limited contender, limit champion. So same structure, except here you need to have 5 limited cards. So far we've covered you could potentially win limited cards from Common Champion, and it works the way moving up. You could potentially win rare cards from the Limited Champion, super rare from rare, and then you can't win unique cards, unfortunately, but we'll get into that right now. So let's go to the market. How do you potentially acquire these cards? How do you acquire the paid-for cards? You want to put money into this game because you love it, you love the NBA. What can you do? So, there's 2 ways. Let's go to new card auctions. Here, as you can see, it's a countdown, and you can bid on cards. And if you win the bid, you get them. And so here you can see you can sort by limited, so then all of these will be limited cards. The difference between limited and common is, there's 5,000 of these, and you can see this. It gets the same 5% boost for the season. It's just these can be resold, and these unlock the higher tournaments. So that's where their value comes from. Now let's go to rare. Rare, you actually get an additional 10% rarity boost, and there's only 1,000 of these. So the added thing here is the additional boost, and then more scarcity, and you unlock higher tournaments. All the way to super rare. So there was 1,000 of the rares, there's 100 of the super rares. Now you get a 20% rarity bonus, you unlock higher level tournaments. And finally, there's 1 unique card up. There's only 1 unique card for each player that gets put out. So each player only gets 1 per year. And these get a 40% rarity boost, which is insane. Okay, so each year when they put out a new set, so next year they'll put out the 2023-2024 set, it'll be done through this auction process where people can bid on them. And it gives you sort of a counter of where they're at. So there's still a lot of limited cards to be printed, which is part of the reason why I haven't gone in and purchased them, right? I think at some point, if Jaden Ivey, great young player, that's the other thing to think about. I can own these cards for year over year over year over year. I'll lose this 5% bonus, but I could get a young Jaden Ivey, train him to get massive bonuses, right? And then, 8 years from now, when he's in his prime, I'll have a Jaden Ivey card that has, an 80% bonus on it. And that'll be a really valuable, useful card for me. So that's just a strategy you could run. But I'm going to wait for these to come down because I don't really care what number print I get. My strategy is kind of to just try to get it way cheaper. The other market situation here is manager sales. So these cards that you see here are cards someone either got from the new card auctions and are trying to flip, or won via the tournaments. As I mentioned, you could win some limited cards, and now are trying to sell them. You can't really see sales that have gone on, I don't think. So it's hard to tell, how liquid or, how frequently these things are turning over. But as you can see, the XP here carries over. So the XP sticks with your card. So if you create an 80% boost version of a card, you'll be able to sell that for more down the line than you would if you had a, 0% boost or a 10% boost. So the boosts do carry over. Okay, so again, I haven't participated in this because I want to wait for the prices to go down a little bit. I'm having a lot of fun playing for free. Last thing we'll talk about is, and they have a whole how to play thing here that's great. So if you want to learn specifically the rules and how the scoring works, come in here and look at that for yourself. So on top of the tournaments that go on where you can earn cards, there's 2 other ways. You get a daily drop, which means you get a free card. I believe the cards are randomized. So you might get really good cards, you might get really bad cards to pick from. And you also get a card swap, which I think is the same thing, where you pick a card to trade in, and then you can get a randomized card you trade it for. So this is just another fun way to transform your deck, build out better common cards so you can hopefully win one of the limited cards, if you're going to go the full, free to play route. Okay, so I suggest doing the daily drop first because it might be a card you actually want to end up trading in. But you'd want to come in and do these every day. So let's see who we get. Dyson Daniels, good rookie. Rose, Duncan Robinson, Patrick Beverly. I think I'm going to take Dyson Daniels here. None of these cards are particularly good. If I was worried about just this year, actually, how old is Trendon Watford? That might be one thing I check really quickly on my phone while I'm talking to you guys, because he's averaging 23 points, not 23 actual NBA points per game. He's averaging 23 fantasy points here. He's 22. And he seems to be playing a decent amount for Portland. At least has gotten some run. So that's interesting. I'm going to take Wofford, actually. He seems like a young, promising player that's getting some burn. So I'll take Wofford. Select card. Close. It's a nice addition. So you kind of need those role players, as you could see, because you have a limited budget. So you need to play guys that, aren't just all superstars. Okay, so let's use my free swap. I thought these were my only options. We're going to scroll down to the bottom. We want to trade in a guy we don't think is too promising. I'm going to trade in Lamar Stevens. Some of these guys are young. Actually, I'm going to trade in Tyler Dorsey. Like Kai Jones and Omer are young. Wesley Matthews is one of those guys where I think if the Bucks have some injuries, they end up playing him like 30 minutes a game randomly. So if I'm ever in a crunch and the Bucks have some injuries, I want to keep him around because I can play him for very few points. But the timing could really work out for him occasionally. So that's why I'm keeping Wesley Matthews around. All right. Oof. So we didn't get very good options here. I am going to take, I believe he went to Tennessee. I remember him playing in college, so I think I'm going to take Scotto. Yeah, he'll probably be a trade-in candidate at some point. Can I decline? Can I just not swap it? I am going to swap it though. Cool. Okay. So that's how you can sort of add and change around your deck right there. All right, that's about it. Again, don't expect a lot of video content, but I am enjoying playing, so I just wanted to keep you guys updated. Yeah, if you're an NBA fan, let me know in the comments. If you're here to my channel for the first time, I cover other play-to-earn games as well, mainly Splinterlands. It'd be something you may want to stick around and check out. Come join the community. I'm also in Discord. I'm on Twitter. I expect to be talking about this on Twitter a decent amount, just because I love the NBA, and this is a really fun project for me to, start paying some attention to. Okay. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I appreciate you all who made it this far. I will talk to you guys soon, and expect my Splinterlands content to be back to normal. Okay.